still go, 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 go.
Knudsen,
What's up, Tursky?
this is Two Guys Talking.
That's right. Another week, baby.
New season. Not just a new week, a whole new season.
Yeah. Crazy to think. 2022/2023 PGA season already up and at 'em, and you are already spending time in the airports. It's a crazy way to start the
I think I got, well, it was like 5 days off.
Well, the best part is that you took a bunch of time off. You went and did some stuff that involved traveling. So, it was, a little bit of your own fault there.
I'm smart, yeah. Yeah, real smart. So we're at the 2022 Fortinet Championship, Silverado Resort and Spa, Napa Valley, California. Oof. Wine country.
Oh, yeah.
You a wine guy?
Ooh, no.
You're not a wine guy. You're Bud Lights only.
Bud Heavies only.
Or Bud Heavies. Yeah. Sorry.
I mean, I'll drink a Bud Light. But no, I'm not much of a wine guy. The funny thing is the only wine that I've ever had that I actually liked was when I was a guest of Mr. Bob Parsons at the PXG launch event. And the wine that he served, everybody was having at the table. So I said, yes, I'll gladly have some. Everybody else was, and they poured me a glass, and it was the most amazing wine I've ever had. It was some red. I have no clue about any wine, but it was delicious. It was red, and I looked up the bottle, and I can't afford it. So that was the last time I drank that wine.
Okay. A little name drop in there.
Yep.
Hot start.
Yep. So
I'm not a wine guy either, really. So Napa doesn't super intrigue me. It's a beautiful place, though.
Oh, I bet.
I will say that. Beautiful place just to hang out for a couple days, kind of reset. There was a lot of equipment going on.
Yeah, there was. Crazy.
There was so much equipment news, new drops, seeing new clubs, also some new players that we've never seen. Obviously, first start of the season for a lot of these guys, making their PGA Tour debuts. And it was just equipment news was flying.
Yeah.
I guess where we'll start, since we already talked about some wine and Napa, is these Odyssey putter covers. Did you see these?
I did. Not necessarily my thing. I've liked a lot of Odyssey covers over the years. This one, I get it. It's kind of cool. It didn't jump to me as much. It may jump to some others. I give him, give credit for the creativity. It's cool, but it's not really my thing.
I think that's where I'm at with it too. Am I a passionate wine drinker? No. Do I think the creativity's off the charts on this head cover? Talk about starting the season strong, custom gear wise. I mean, they made the head cover look like the label of a bottle of wine. Yep. Nice burgundy color on these head covers, and a lot of the guys were all over them. They had mallet head covers and blade head covers, so, no matter what style of putter you had, if you're a wine drinker and into it, which a lot of the guys were, they outed themselves as wine guys.
I think as you get older, it's one of those kind of cool things to try different wines and go down that rabbit hole. And I think also,
I definitely
if you're a PGA Tour player, you probably have an income that allows you to try some more wines that are on the upper shelves at the liquor stores you go to. And there is a line which I draw of what my booze cost, and there's probably some wines that are pretty delicious that are above that line. So these guys probably have had the opportunity to try some pretty amazing stuff.
Maybe not the Bob Parsons budget, but certainly above the bottom shelf where me and you mostly buy our party favors.
Our $2 Chuck.
All right, so moving on to some hard goods.
Yeah.
Pretty big story, I would say. We'll lead off right with it. Rickie Fowler.
Yeah.
So, kind of going back a couple years, Rickie Fowler set the internet ablaze, in my opinion, from my perspective. Set the internet ablaze with those Rev 33s.
Oh, sweet.
So he was kind of implementing prototype blades into his bag, leading up to that, and I don't think they necessarily were nailing it, in terms of look and feel for them, and then the Rev 33s. And these things are like the thinnest blades, most intimidating clubs. Got the copper look, but it's like you look down at a dress and it gives you shivers. Type
Especially
club.
the long irons.
You know, crazy intimidating. They ended up hitting the market, but like shortly after they hit the market, he kind of switched out of them to. He had the black King forged MBs.
Yeah, he went back to those.
Like that, he had played for years, and he went back to those, and he had kind of been playing them throughout the last, I don't know, 8 months maybe 6 months. So he had been like in blades. You know, his history with irons is mostly blades. He would have like a cavity back or a game improvement for iron in the last recent years, and I think he experimented with cavity backs like here and there, basically throughout his 10-year career, whatever it is. Shows up this week, completely switches everything up, iron-wise. So he's got, not only are they unreleased Cobra King Tour irons that we've never seen before, that the public's never seen before, he's also in cavity backs. So it's like a huge story, in my opinion, in the equipment world. You know, Rickie Fowler, big name. He's pretty much been going through like his struggles in the public eye.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, because he's such like a highly sought after interview, and the spotlight's always on him just because, you know, he has fans. He'll be in the notable groups. I think a lot of PGA Tour fans, when they check a leaderboard and they know Rickie's in the tournament, it's like, all right, how did Rickie do? And then kind of like punchline of a joke here and there on Twitter, unfortunately, because he wasn't playing well there for a while, going through swing changes. Ended up performing pretty well at the end of last year. He like got into the playoffs, and he's kind of just been teetering. Like, you know, it's what does the next 5 years look like for Rickie Fowler? Is he going to keep his tour card? Is he going to settle down and start playing well? You know, get some confidence back? And so we caught up with Rickie this week. As soon as I saw his bag, I was like, what do we have going on here? I got to take photos, and I got to talk to him. So we took some photos. They are up on golfwx.com and the forums. But we do have something special this week, teaming up with the PGA Tour on equipment video. Released, it's on our Instagram and our TikTok page, or on PGA Tour's Instagram. Rickie gave us some insight on exactly why he made the switch. So in the off-season, short off-season, I guess like a couple weeks longer for Rickie because he didn't qualify for the last 2 playoff events. But he did some off-season testing. So they have new irons. Cobra has new irons. We don't know exactly what's going on or when they're coming out, but he said he tested MBs, so blades, cavity backs, and then this iron called the King Tour, which is a cavity back style. But then you look at it from a dress, there's like no offset on these things, which is what Rickie wants. So you get more forgiveness, like a cavity back offers. Perimeter weighted, it seems, you know, everything that comes with the cavity back iron, but not the big offset. So pretty intriguing iron. And basically he was saying on his misshits, especially low on the face, he's losing anywhere from 7 to 9 yards on the blades or the cavity backs. Then with the King Tours, which like are a little wider, you can see the top line's a little bit thicker, sole a little thicker, so probably a little bit more bounce. Only 4 to 6 yards on the misses, low on the face. So basically what he was saying is, why make it harder for yourself? I'm going to miss-hit some shots, and we might as well capitalize on the increased consistency that I'm going to get from these King Tours.
Yeah.
Now, as an iron connoisseur yourself, what do you think? What do you think of the look? At least so far. I mean, we don't have anything else to go off of design-wise, and he didn't give up any of that information. He was just talking about performance. But we can talk about the aesthetics.
Personally, I like them. I thought these look that I'm going to assume they're going to replace the King MIMs Tour, or the King Tour MIMs from the previous generation. I think they're 2 years old. I think they ran for 2 years. But they were the same thing. They were kind of a bigger cavity back, had a little bit of speed built into the face, but when you set them down, didn't have a ton of offset. Top line was fairly thin. These look to be about the same, and I think it's definitely a cleaner badging on the back with just the King Tour, a couple little black lines, a little bit of detail into it. You can definitely tell there's some type of the bottom half where the sole kind of comes out. There's definitely some type of either like urethane or something like that tucked into like a little pocket or cavity. It's probably to enhance the feel or reduce some vibration or something like that. But overall,
sound dampening sauce.
Yeah, baby. But overall, I think it's a great looking iron. I think it's one of those irons that lets a guy, let's call it a guy like myself who's like that 9.9/10 handicap. That guy who flirts with single digits, doesn't practice a lot, wants to look at a club with a little bit of, with very little offset, wants to look at kind of a player's club, but needs the help. This is that iron that allows you to get, like Rickie said, let you get away with some mishits that won't kill you like a true MB or a true cavity back would. But overall, I like them. I know there were some comments in the forums that people were saying, the top line looks kind of thick or whatever. Personally, I don't see that. To me, it's a pretty traditional top line. It's not as razor thin as the Rev 33s, but it's pretty thin to me. But I think this is overall a really good looking iron, a really good package, and aesthetics. I think it looks a step up from last year's King MIM tours. So overall, I'm excited to see it. I'm assuming it'll be coming out at some point, and it'll be exciting to hit it.
When I see stuff like this, it inspires me to never go anywhere near blades again.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I know he's kind of been struggling maybe the last couple years, but he still goes out and shoots 68.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe he'll fire a 73, and it's like, oh, what happened to Rickie? He fell off. It's like he still shot 73 on a PGA Tour course from 7,400 yards with the rough up and the pins tucked.
Yeah.
And it's like, if he feels like his ball striking is suffering because he plays too thin of a club or something that's not forgiving enough, and he's willing to make a switch like this, it's like, who am I to have a big ego about the top line being too thick? You know what I mean? Throw some more forgiveness in my game, because we all need it. And I do feel like as many custom blades, and we always get fired up over how clean and cool custom blades look, I do feel like PGA Tour players for the most part are more willing than ever to trend in that direction. And it makes me feel like us as fans and just golfers, we should kind of take note.
Yeah.
And it's like, the stigma, we got to just let it go.
Oh,
And it's inspiring that Rickie does that. And he went out in the first round, shot 67. 5 under, he's T4. So things are going well. He has had strong starts in the past, and there's always one round or a couple holes. He'll make a 9 on a par 4 type thing where he'll throw it in and kind of quote unquote ruin that week. So hopefully he just stays strong throughout, and his irons bring him the consistency that he's looking for.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, you said it perfectly. I mean, if you took the worst player on the PGA Tour and they were playing an iron like this, this type of cavity back or whatever, there's something to be said, because the worst player on tour, the best amateur player can probably not be. I mean, I guess the best amateur player in the world who wins the USAM, okay, that guy might have a chance of maybe beating the worst tour pro on certain days or whatever. Sure, a round or two, no problem. But overall, for us 5 to 10 to 15 handicaps who probably listen to the show, or maybe even a little higher, there is the worst tour player out there will absolutely demolish anything that we do. And if you look at their bag and they're not playing blades, like you said, why do we all have this big ego that we need to play blades? There's just no reason for it anymore.
I'm just a fan of the art of blades at this point.
Yeah. I mean,
no reason to throw them in my bag.
Yeah, I mean, trust me, they're beautiful. I love a lot of blades. I wish I could play them. I've come out and said they don't. I don't run out and try them and put them in my bag or whatever because I know they're not for me. But I totally agree. Like, they look amazing. Like, I would love to, roll to the first tee with a bag full of blades and looking like a hot shot. But then I'm going to go out and fire 90, and it's going to look terrible.
So we got some more Rickie news. If you are a Rickie Fowler fan, listen up, because this is for you. Rickie was nice enough to gift Two Guys Talking Golf a golf ball straight from his bag.
Nice.
He signed it. It's marked up. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it on my computer because it's old, but I'll take some photos of it, and we're going to give it away.
Yeah.
So it's a TaylorMade TP5, straight from Rickie Fowler's bag. Got his orange dot right by the TaylorMade 1, and he puts an M right above the TaylorMade branding for Maya, his daughter, and he signed it. And we're going to give it away on our Instagram page, I believe is how we're going to...
Yeah.
That's like the platform we're going to work off here? Okay, so our Instagram is at TG2WRX. Would you like to go through the rules of this giveaway, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to do, it's going to be simple. We're going to ask you to like the post, and this post will go up pretty much right after you hear this. So right after you hear this podcast that day, Friday, you're going to see the post on our Instagram account. But basically, the rules will be on there as well. But like the post, comment on there, tag two buddies that would be envious of the fact that you've got a signed, autographed Rickie Fowler ball right out of his golf bag. Do that, and then we'll let those things ride for through the weekend into next week, and probably on like Thursday, something like that, we'll shut it down and randomly pick the winner, and then we'll contact you, get your info, and ship you that really cool golf ball. So Tursky and I are unfortunately not eligible, and don't tag Tursky and I. Our personal accounts. Don't tag TG2WRX. Come on, tag two friends.
That's not against the rules.
It's not against the rules. I just don't want to see a ton of that. So, but yeah, tag two buddies would be jealous.
We're going to get blown up now that you said that.
And it'll be cool. So it's a pretty cool ball. I wish I could have it on my, shelves behind me. That'd be pretty cool, but very cool for him to do that for us.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, Rickie Fowler is just a nice guy.
I bet.
Like, he's just the nicest guy, And I'm not just saying that because he did provide us our giveaway for the week, the golf ball right here. No, he's gracious with his time. We wanted to do an equipment video with the PGA Tour about, his new irons. Pretty big story. No qualms whatsoever with it. He's more than willing to help out when he can. And he's playing well so far this week, so good on you, Rick.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him.
Let's move on.
I'm rooting for him. I hope he plays
because we have a bunch of other stuff to get through, and we've already wasted time jabbering away. Okay. Srixon.
Yep.
Srixon drivers, more importantly. So the ZX5 and the ZX7, they hit retail mid-January 2021, correct?
Yeah, something like that.
So it's coming up on their 2-year life cycle. I think Srixon's always been a 2-year type company, not once a year, but alternating years. So it's about that time for them to start popping up, and start popping up. They did. On Tuesday we started getting word that people were testing. Immediately, Greg puts his investigative cap on, and he starts getting to work. And by nighttime we had some in-hand photos of a ZX5 MK2 LS, and then a ZX7 MK2 new drivers. A lot of the Srixon guys were testing. And probably the biggest Srixon name out there, Hideki Matsuyama, was testing. And I believe, based on everything that I heard from their team and watching Hideki himself, we don't have confirmation whether he put it in play, but from everything I heard, he was loving the ZX5 MK2 LS, 10.5 degree LS model. And I think he's going to put it in play this week.
That's awesome.
So... that's what I heard. I know nothing about the design, unfortunately. I know nothing about the tech, the release dates. You know, if I had to guess about the release date, I would say they would follow exactly what they did 2 years ago. And I think it was, January 14 or 15, something like that. So probably somewhere around there. I mean, these are not just like prototype heads. I mean, they have the branding all over it. It looks like they could be retail ready. So my guess would be these are the drivers we'll eventually see at retail. But they just hit the USGA conforming list, and PGA Tour players are just seeing them for the first time. Like the guys out there testing, they were testing them for the first time. So it'll be interesting to see. Now the LS, calling the ZX5 an LS, you would have to assume that stands for low spin, right?
Yeah.
Like what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean,
within their
lineup? Me, it sounds. And again, I'm just guessing here when we're just trying to put stuff together. My guess is that there will be 2 ZX5s. There'll be a ZX5 standard, and then there's this LS version. And my guess, again, is if you go to the forums and take a look at all the photos, the ZX5 LS has the weight. There's an interchangeable weight that's pushed really far forward near the face of the driver. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming to lower spin, slide the CG forward a little bit. And my guess would be a standard ZX5 will have that weight in the back, will be my guess. I have never seen this other one. Personally, I really like the shape of both of them. I think from a dress, they look really good. The ZX5, ZX7s that are out right now are really good performers, so I'm going to assume these are even going to be even better. But the ZX5 LS sounds like it's going to be that driver that's going to have some forgiveness added to it, but still be low spin. And then the ZX7 will be that, ultimate. It's got the 2 movable weights, so you can probably make a little draw, a little fade bias, and then you still have the adjustable hosel. So that'll be kind of the ultimate in adjustability. And it does look a little shorter from face to back. Looks a little more compact than the ZX5. But, yeah, I'm going to assume there's going to be a third driver out of a standard ZX5 would be my guess. But personally, I really like the look. I think these things look really good. I like the matte crown on them. They don't have too much going on. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think they look like really solid drivers. I want to try them when they come out. So hopefully, like you said, hopefully the release date is kind of close to what they did before, and it'll be exciting to see how these stack up against some of the new drivers that'll be either out already or who will be coming out, for next year.
I got a kick out of Hideki's head because he just has one tiny strip of lead tape.
It's so tiny. It's like the size of your thumbnail.
It's like slightly back and slightly heelward.
Yep.
But it's just one strip, and I just can't imagine that can
do anything,
manipulate performance at all. But these guys are dialed, and they amaze me every time with how dialed they really are. But one strip of lead tape, it almost seems like he put it there just to put it there. I don't know.
No, I agree, man. It is so tiny. Like I said, it is like the size of your thumbnail, and it is just in this what seems to be a very specific spot on the head. But yeah, it's but that's Hideki, I mean, he's got a DI8TX in this head. I mean,
I love that.
It's a 10.5, and it's just slightly lower, set to just slightly lower loft. But yeah, I mean, he's just the guy's an animal. I love it. The stuff he gets into is so good and so specific. But yeah, I love his driver. It's great.
I wonder if he hit a couple drives and he was saying to himself, "This is 70 RPM off, so I need to put some lead tape here." And then he moves the adjustable hosel a 1/16 of an inch off standard. He's like, okay, now it's perfect.
Yeah. Or the swing weight was 0.0, 0.1 off of what he really wanted, and he's like, well, I gotta need that little bit of lead tape. But that's Hideki though. I mean, he's an ultimate tinkerer when it comes to testing and tinkering and messing around. He's the ultimate guy. I don't know of anybody who might be bigger than him.
Yeah, what's funny, it's like a boy who cried wolf almost situation, because literally every week for 2 years since he started playing the ZX5, I mean, he tests 5 different driver heads along with like 8 different shafts.
Every week.
And just super, super minor like variations on basically the same stuff. And it's like, oh, what's he doing? Is he testing something new? No. Next week you look over, he's testing. Oh, is it new? No, it's just a bunch of ZX5s. But this week it was like, no, it is actually something different. So it was refreshing.
Yeah.
I found it refreshing.
I love it. Like I said, I love seeing, Hideki hitting different stuff. It always, like, it's just, it's different. There's something going on there. And it'll be exciting to see how long it lasts in the bag. Like if it went in, how long does it stay? Does he switch back and forth? Because he's just an eclectic dude.
Gotta love it. He was also doing a really interesting putting drill using one of his ADDI shafts where he he sticks the putter. He has the putter out at address. He puts the shaft into the back cavity of the putter, and then he anchors it onto his chest.
Yeah.
You just have to look at the photos of it. It's just an interesting drill that you don't see really anyone else doing, and he was doing it for days. Greg got some photos of him doing it Tuesday, and then I got some photos on Wednesday. So just check out the forum thread.
Yeah.
When you go over into the forums, there's Hideki Matsuyama's new driver, and in that thread I just dumped some of the photos of the putting drill because I just thought it was fascinating.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's almost like he's anchoring the shaft against his chest, and then the other end is on the flange, the back flange of the putter. So it's almost like he's trying to keep it in some type of position throughout his putting stroke. But he's put even a little rubber cap on the end of the shaft so it doesn't scratch the putter or anything like that.
It's smart.
He's got a grip on the shaft so it sticks into his shirt or whatever. But yeah, it goes from his chest down to the putter, and it looks like it's pretty long. There's a lot of the DIs. They have the white upper handle section with the little rings, and there's a lot of white there. So I wonder if that shaft is either uncut or it's cut to a very specific length for him to be.
I was going to say it could be raw.
Yeah, it could be raw, but like I said, it could be some certain length that he wants to be away from the putter, whatever. But it is a very unique drill. It's very interesting. So yeah, like you said, the only way to describe it is that you just got to go on the forums and see it for yourself.
In other driver news, that wasn't the only new driver that we spotted. We also have a Wilson Dynapower.
Yeah,
and that was being tested by numerous PGA Tour players. The two that initially come to mind are Kevin Tway and John Augenstein. This thing has carbon all over it, and it looks pretty good.
I agree.
It almost has a Callaway TaylorMade type look from the past couple years, just really modern. It's got some interchangeable weight on the the back portion of the sole. And I was talking to John Augenstein because I was like, what did you experience with the driver? How's it feel? How's it look? How's it doing? Does it have a chance? And he was like, honestly, I just need a couple minor tweaks with it, but going forward, I think it's going to be a legitimate option because the sound, the feel, and the performance have taken a big leap since last Wilson driver that he tested. He didn't specify which driver, but he was like, yeah, man, this is a serious contender.
Yeah.
And just judging from the looks and listening to the sound on the range of what the guys were experiencing, it seems like a legitimate contender and serious option from Wilson. Now, I think the Dynapower name is a throwback.
Yeah, I think so.
I was talking to one of the Wilson reps, and he was saying that was a name from the 50s and 60s. Obviously, probably not equipment I was playing growing up. I was about 30, 40 years too late. But if you remember Dynapower from back in the day, I think you'll be pretty happy to see the nomenclature of this new driver.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it looks.
What are the people saying?
Yeah, honestly, I'm with you. I think it looks really good. There's been, remember where there was the Wilson Lab prototypes that came out last year, the year before that some guys were testing. Mm-hmm. I think those look really good. I know those were prototypes. This has a little more shelf ready look to it. But yeah, like you said, ton of carbon out on the toe. The whole crown is carbon. It's got the little strip of titanium in the front. But overall, the shaping of it and everything's really good. It honestly kind of reminds me of the PXG drivers right now, with just the shape of it and having that carbon crown on the back. Kind of reminds me of the Gen 5 drivers. But the face is super deep on it. It looks like it's got a really deep face. It's really, like I said, I think it's a really good looking driver, and I think if it performs well, it's one of those things where it'll be sneaky long and it'll be, kind of fly under the radar like a lot of Wilson products do. But like you said, it's the only thing I wish Wilson would do a little bit of. I feel like their adjustable sleeves a little chunky. I wish they could just slim it down a touch. If I had to have one gripe about the driver, that's one thing I would kind of change. But overall, I think the shape is really good. The deep face is pretty great. I think a lot of better players are going to like to see that deep face. And then, like you said, you've got that weight on the back that you're going to be able to dial in swing weight, with or head weight, the total head weight anyway. So, good looking driver. I think Wilson. Everybody always loves their blades, but I think they fly under the radar when it comes to some of their forged irons, and then also, some of the woods here have definitely improved since the Triton days when they were letting amateur people on TV.
That was a disaster.
Yeah, when they're letting amateur people on TV design drivers, when you're putting in the work yourself and leaving it to real golf engineers, you can see that Wilson can definitely make something that looks pretty good.
That was just the Titan. It was especially brutal because, once it came to market, it was quickly deemed illegal, wasn't it?
Yeah, because the sole plate had a little part that stuck out the back, and it was, I guess, categorized as like a wing or something like that. So they had to then send out new sole plates that were conforming to use it. But it was one of the loudest non-square drivers I've ever heard.
Yeah, I kind of felt bad for him. Because obviously it's like you put a driver on the shelf, you don't think it's illegal. They probably went back and forth with the USGA a million times.
Oh, yeah.
And then they actually get out to retail, not legal, and it's tough to put, whatever the phrase is, the toothpaste back in the tube. It's like once everyone thinks it's illegal, you're just not gonna keep playing it, or you're not gonna buy it, and it kind of is just not an option anymore.
Yeah, but...
And it was really loud. They couldn't quite bring that one home. I thought it was a great concept for a show.
Oh yeah,
it was pretty entertaining. And if you got a great driver out of it, I think it would have been really cool. Just never compounding disasters there during the release. But
yeah.
The Dynapower looks awesome.
Yeah, I think it looks really good.
I'll say that. I'm intrigued to test it.
Well, the other thing that might be interesting is that if Wilson goes the route of, playing in the arena of the now $550 to $600 drivers, if they go in the route here and go, hey, this is $399, look at all the carbon, look at all stuff, this is a $399 driver, and it performs, and it's a good driver, they could snag a lot of consumers up with having just a little bit lower price point, still pack it full of tech, good shaft in it and all that, and sell it for $400. I think you could definitely snag some players.
100% agree with you. If they can just get within a mile per hour, a mile and a half, compared to the other high-end drivers on the market, and they undercut with the price by $150, $200, it almost becomes why would I not buy this driver, and there's no reason why this driver can't be at that level, with the way technology and design, materials, all these companies, they have access to similar materials, the engineering design brains that go into it. They're all chasing the same goals, in terms of CG, lowering weight, placing weight exactly where you want it, adjustable hosels, using carbon, various face thicknesses to capitalize on the hot spots and to give you some forgiveness on the spots where you need it. They're all chasing the same things, and there's no reason why they can't get at least in the wheelhouse, lower price point. There you go. That's how you do it if you're in kind of that secondary tier of category for the drivers that people, might test and consider at retail.
Yeah, And it looks good. I mean, and
Anyway.
it looks good. I mean, it doesn't look cheap at all. So I mean, if you're able to pull that off, I mean, like I said, I want to try it anyway, regardless.
I will try it anyway. That's still not all the new equipment that was spotted this week. So we got Grayson Sig. He's a Mizuno staffer, and he debuted some brand new Mizuno irons. Some JPX923 tours. What are your thoughts? Because to me, I have played this iron line before. They look right in my wheelhouse. Like I like the look. They didn't change anything crazy where now it's like off-putting. It's like this doesn't look like a JPX tour. I think they kept with what works, but it looks like they made some minor improvements or minor changes, I guess, depending on your perspective, to like the head profile and how it looks at a dress. What do you think? What are people saying? What's going on? Talk to me.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think the JPX line has always been pretty huge ever since who was it? Brooks kind of put them in play back with like the 919s or something like that, 921s, 99.
I don't think he just put them in play.
I think
they were basically designed for him and kind of designed with him.
I think it was like the 919 or something like that, but it was
the original.
But these look really good. I mean, they're classic Mizuno in a sense that they have a really clean back to them. They've definitely changed up something with the weighting. As you can see, the cavity's got a couple different layers on it in terms of where the muscle kind of pops in and out. So definitely something that they're potentially playing with CGs or something like that, where they're moving some weight around in the back of the head. Like you said, kept them super clean. I mean, you get the Roadrunner logo, and then it just says JPX 923, and like that's it. I mean, there's no funky badging. There's nothing crazy. They look pretty class. They are razor thin from a dress, man. Jeez.
Yeah, they are.
Especially that 4-iron, just is razor thin, very minimal offset. The 8-iron, again, same thing. I mean, just tiny. And I do have to say the one thing I do like, and then this is something that I was always very critical of Mizuno pitching wedges. I just always thought the 9-iron and pitching wedge, just the shape didn't go as consistently with the rest of the set. It just didn't flow into the pitching wedge as well. And I think Mizuno on the past couple sets has really fixed that. And the pitching wedge looks like it belongs in this set, which I really like. And it doesn't look overly big. It doesn't look like the toe's too sharp. I mean, there were little things here and there in some of the old JPX stuff that got a little weird, a little different. This looks really clean, and they're probably buttery soft. I mean, they probably feel great, and it'll be interesting to see more details on kind of what they changed, because I mean, it is the tour. It's probably one-piece forged. I mean, that's what it looks like. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of tech has been packed in there. But overall, I mean, a really good set of irons, and I think the forum so far, I mean, everybody's saying, hey, they look really good, they look really nice, and people are definitely going to try them.
You brought up a couple points that I want to respond to real quick.
Yeah.
They are razor thin.
They are crazy thin.
But they also have, like, kind of the ideologies of a cavity back. And I think that's why I liked him so much, and why I understood that, like, a Brooks Koepka or a tour player liked him so much, because at a dress, when you look down, you're like, I'm playing a blade.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure.
This is a tour club. Like, I could shape it however I want. But in reality, like, if you miss a little on the heel, a little on the toe, which you're bound to, like, you did get that forgiveness.
Yep.
And it still felt really good. Like, you weren't getting those just, like, off-putting vibrations, when you really toe a blade.
Oof.
And maybe the weather's a little cold. It's like, with these, it just had that nice solid feel throughout. I'm actually surprised they're not even more popular, because at least on the market, like, people always want to play something that looks like a blade. They like the thin top lines, but you need the forgiveness.
Yeah.
So this iron, I think, fulfills that wheelhouse, like the 0 handicapper all the way up to even like an 8, I think, can really play these irons and play them pretty well. The other thing you said was the pitching wedge. I did not know that was a popular take on the JPX tour line, and I noticed that too with the tour irons that I was playing. I think I started playing them like 2 years ago, and they lasted about a year in the bag. And every time I hit that pitching wedge, I was like, it doesn't look right.
It was always
I
a
don't
little
know
off.
what it was. It like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like maybe the toe was too high,
Yep.
or it looked like a little shovelly. Like something was just off about it. And I completely agree. I think this looks way better. Go on the forums, check them out for yourself, because who knows when you're actually going to be able to see them in person. I don't know what sort of retail plans they have for these. I would assume they're going to come out at retail.
I would think so.
No idea when. And I would assume when they do hit retail, they won't be stamped with SIGG
No.
like Grace and Sigs are.
I mean, we can get it done. If you want yours stamped with
That's what you
SIGG,
want.
Tursky, we can get it done.
But yeah, you know, as a former user of this model, I think they did a great job.
Yeah, I think so too. And like I said, it'd be exciting to see where the line goes. I mean, the last JPX line had quite a few models in it. I mean, I think they had like a JPX, what 921. They had like a Hot Metal Pro, a Forged,
a Forged,
and then the Tour.
yeah.
They had like 4 models. It'll be interesting to see if they do the same 4. Either they change it up. I mean, we'll see. The Tours look great, and it'll be pretty cool to see what the rest of the lineup looks like. You know, whatever that may be.
Absolutely. I saw some things on our Golf WRX homepage. Have there been a couple of retail launches of golf clubs? Do you have any intel on that?
In terms of retail launches, not the. I mean,
I believe PXG putters and possibly ping putters as well. I've been out on tour, so I haven't been up on my retail launch game.
so PXG actually was a brand new putter shaft. So they've gone the route of multi-material, exotic putter shafts as an option when you order a putter. And the first thing I think people will look at, and they'll look at it and say, "Oh, it's an Odyssey Stroke Lab," because it has a very similar look. It's got a steel tip section, and then the upper 3/4 of it is all graphite, but it isn't the same as Stroke Lab. It doesn't have any counterbalance weights in the butt end, and it's basically layers of carbon. It's called the M16, is the name of the putter shaft. And if you go on and you order a PXG putter, it's an $89 upcharge, which is pretty cheap compared to a lot of other exotic shafts. But it's supposed to be 26% stiffer than a standard steel shaft, offer like 39% less head rotation movement throughout the stroke, and then it's supposed to put a little better roll in the ball as well. I actually tested it. I've got 2 of them here. I love the feel. The way it's designed is it's actually layers of graphite or carbon, and then it's got a couple like really thin rubber layers in it to dampen the vibration, and then it's got 22 I think it's steel wires that run vertically throughout the length of the shaft around it to add some stability as well. And I tell you what, it does soften up the putter a little bit. Like the first putt I hit with it, I was like, wow, this does feel a little softer. It's not quite as crisp off the face. The ball is. It's just a little more muted. And it is a little stiffer. So if you like that feeling of a slightly stiffer shaft in your putter, a head that kind of stays with the shaft a little longer, a little easier, it's definitely a nice putter shaft. So that's brand new. And then, Ping introduced 10 putter models. So basically, they've got a whole brand new line. I didn't get deep into it yet in terms of what they are, but there's a bunch of putters, kind of a lot of classic designs that you've kind of seen throughout Ping throughout the years. But basically, that there's an Answer 2D, but basically delivering high MOI designs in these classic shapes.
Ping covers everything with their putter lineups.
Yeah.
Like they have classics, they have like lines that have inserts, then they have the PLD lines, and then they have the wild mallets. Like they just have the whole spectrum of putters. They have firm feeling faces, soft feeling faces, milled inserts. Like they got it all. The reason why that jogged my memory was I have Ping PLD putters written down on my little list that I'm going off of, because we saw a couple new designs out there on tour.
Yeah.
They have a super long neck, like a real long neck, and then they have a really short slant neck, like as part of their PLD, at least the blade models that they had out there. just two interesting, like, seemingly additions to what was offered at least previously. Pretty cool. That long neck looks
really good, actually.
It's long, but it looks good.
Yeah,
it looks really good. The way they aligned it, like from a dress, you can't tell at all like how long of a neck it is. Just like the way it's angled.
Yeah, because it's interesting.
Which I believe is just moving CG a little bit towards the center.
Because that's what's interesting. The first thing I noticed, because the first picture is like the face, the face of the putter that you and Greg took, and the face of it, like the neck of the putter kind of slants towards the center of the putter. Like it slants in towards the center a little bit. And at first I was kind of like, not that it was a mistake, but I was like, wow, that's kind of interesting. I wonder how that looks at a dress, was like my first thought. And then when you look at the address photo, it looks basically like a plumber's neck putter. Like it doesn't, like you said, you wouldn't really know a whole lot of difference. I really like that putter because I like that it's a little wider flange. It's kind of a wider answer style. So I'm a big fan. I think it looks really good.
I agree with you. I 100% agree. Like, and that's what was going through my mind as well. I did not take those photos. I didn't hold them in person, so I was just looking at Greg's photos like everyone else.
Yep.
And when I saw that first photo, I was like, why is it angled like that? Like,
yeah.
Did Greg take it from a weird angle? Like, what's going on here? And then you just look at it from a dress, and it's like, oh, it makes sense. They're basically trying to hide how long of a neck it is.
Yeah.
And probably move that CG a little bit.
True.
So pretty cool new PLD putters. And just a quick note on those M16 PXG putter shafts. I think at this point, if you're just like a general putter consumer, you got 3 or 4 putters laying around, like you're that type of guy, not keep one putter in the bag for 12 years. Like you're willing to kind of buy and test and move and shake. It's just like at this point in the industry, I think you have to at least give a try to one of these multi-material shafts, something other than just like a normal steel offering. A lot of companies offer it. PXG, obviously, the Stroke Labs, Stability, LA Golf. There's like a lot of options to be able to try something that's multi-material, and they all do it like a little bit differently. I think at some point you just got to go in somewhere, whether it's a Golfsmith or PGA Tour Superstore or like whatever the case is, and get your hands on one just to feel it and see if you like it.
Yeah.
I can't promise it's going to be for everyone, but like you said, it just changes that feel. It does change the way the putter feels in your hands, the way the putter releases, how it feels at impact off the face. Like it's not just one of those marketing things like, this is going to help you make 17 more putts. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it just slightly changes that feel. And if you have problems, to me, with like your stroke wavering, that's the best way I could put it. That's what it helps me with. Like, it just kind of tightens up that stroke, and not to use one of the company's name, but it just kind of adds a little bit more stability throughout the stroke to me. So I would just encourage people to give it a try.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm the same.
I'm not selling you on any of them. I'm just saying, like, I think it's worth a try, especially if you're struggling. And now's the perfect time because we're about to head into the off season. You can putt around on the carpet with it, get that feel all winter, and then come back out in spring and just be firing.
Yeah. No, I agree. I've tried a lot of them. I haven't tried every one of them because there are a lot. I mean, you can go and, right off the top of your head, I can name at least 5-6 manufacturers that make them. So, and they're all a little different. They're all a little different in terms of how they feel and all that. So, yeah, I think there's something to it. People I always get a lot of questions of like, well, is it worth the money? The worth the money is going to depend on you, because to some people, a $200 plus putter shaft is crazy expensive, and I totally understand that. And to other people, $200 plus putter shaft isn't that expensive. So, like you said, is it going to make you go from 36 putts around or 40 putts around down to 32? No. But is it going to enhance that feel a little bit and maybe make you enjoy that putter just a little bit more? Definitely could.
Yeah, it could change everything. Like, sometimes it just takes that extra little added confidence, because on the greens, the mental problems really come through.
Yeah, they do.
That's when you're ultra exposed and, like, result oriented. This might just kind of take you out of your head and feel more comfortable. more confident, and maybe it does like completely change your putting game. I'm not sure it changes, anything drastically with spin or launch or something like that, but if it improves your stroke and confidence, like that almost means more on the green sometimes to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, we also spotted some Ventus TR red and black shafts. I'm gonna leave this one to you. This is your territory. You love testing out driver shafts, and I believe you are a Fuji Ventus guy. So
I've been.
What does this mean to you?
I've been known to hit a few Ventus shafts. I think I have 5 of the 6 behind me, and the 6th one is actually in my golf bag. You just can't see it. But yeah, so Ventus TR. You and I were basically both at the launch of TR Blue back at the American Express last year.
Yes, sir.
That was early in the year or late 2020, something like that. We were both out in Palm Springs, and
early January.
Yeah, we were out in Palm Springs. So we saw the launch of TR Blue, and now TR Red and Black. So the 3 Ventus, original Ventus, red, blue, and black, are still there, still in the line. They're not going anywhere. They're still there, and then the TRs are kind of in-betweeners in a sense. The TR Red is going to launch a little bit lower, spin a little bit less than red. TR Blue is going to launch a little bit lower, spin just a little bit less than blue, and black is the lowest launching, stiffest Ventus, lowest spinning, stiffest Ventus they make. But yeah, basically the TR.
That's a serious driver shaft.
It's stiff. Like I've got like the black back here. It's stout. And basically what they did is through their research, they found some areas in the shaft that could use some reinforcing to add some stability and some control for certain swings. And basically in the upper, just under the handle section, they added this spread toe fabric that reinforces the shaft and makes that section a little stiffer, and therefore produces a shaft that can offer a little more control, a little more stability for players. So I'm a big fan of Ventus Red TR. I've been playing that a lot lately. It is just really, really good. But all 3, like I said, are kind of in between. So if you went from like highest launching to lowest launching with all 6, Ventus Red, the original, would have launched the highest, followed by TR Red, and then blue, and then TR Blue, black, TR Black. So that would be your launch from highest to lowest in all 6 Ventus pieces now. But the original Ventus, I mean, it was the Golf WRX forum members win driver shaft of choice. I think it went 1, 2, 3 in our members choice test, member choice poll.
That's wild.
Which was crazy.
That's wild. With how many options are out there, them sweeping is pretty impressive.
It's insane. But they've had so many wins on tour with the Ventus stuff. TR Blue has jumped in a few bags, right away and throughout the year. And I'm expecting to see some TR Blacks and TR Reds jump into some bags as well as this season starts. So they're pretty good pieces. They're out now. If you go and check whoever your local Fujikura dealer is, they've got them, and you can go hit them, try them. But they're, like I said, the red is sneaky, sneaky good.
I know I give you grief for shaft testing probably a little bit too much even, I'd argue. I am going to do some shaft testing because I do have a TR Black sitting in my apartment.
Ooh.
So I'm going to throw that head-to-head against... I have like 3 different drivers right now. I know I sound like you. And I think I have Tenseis pretty much in all of them. So I'm going to throw them head-to-head against those and just see how I'm liking it.
Yeah.
With the different heads that I have laying around.
I like it because you know what?
So
you're gonna have to go like me and go to All Fit, baby, so you can put shafts in every single head. Love it.
Dang it! You're rubbing off on me.
Hell yeah!
I do this podcast too often with
Hell
you.
yeah!
Okay, so moving along, and just real quick, I just have a couple other notes because I'm not going to go through all the what's in the bags that we have because there were about 27.
A ton.
There's a lot of what's in the bags. Greg was going crazy. He left on Wednesday, then I was doing what's in the bags. Like, normally I don't do, I let Greg rock,
Yeah.
I let him do his thing with the what's in the bags, and I try not to get in his way because he'll just fire him off. But he wasn't there Wednesday, and we had a couple more what's in the bags that we wanted to get, so I filled in. One standout what's in the bag that I do want to highlight before we get out of here. Ryan Moore.
Yes, I was hoping that. Yes. I was sitting there when you said, like, okay, I was like, please be Ryan Moore. Because I went through this one.
My goodness.
And I'm a huge fan. We'll get into it, but you go your part. I'll say mine after we're done. But love it.
He was on staff with someone last year. I guess we don't need to say the company, but
yeah.
I think he's a new free agent, right?
Yeah, I believe so. That was kind of the comments in the forum, too. Somebody brought it up and said, hey, I thought it was with so-and-so. It must not be the case anymore. And that's the consensus. Like, I think everybody's kind of going as he's free agent again.
So this bag looks like he just went through his old clubs and picked, like, his favorites out.
Yeah.
Like, everything that he really wants to play, he just loaded the bag with it. Like, he has XR 16 Pro fairway woods and a bunch of them. The 18 degree especially has a dime-sized wear mark right in the center of the face.
No, it does.
I love that
so
one.
So good.
He must have hit 8 million golf balls with that fairway wood. He's also got new level irons, which he's the only guy out there that you see with them.
Yeah.
That's kind of one of those unknown type brands that makes really good equipment at affordable prices.
Yep.
And would be competitive if more people knew about it.
Yeah.
Really. You know, if it was more on people's radars and they were more available in stores and you put them head to head against even the top guys, they would have a chance. So Ryan Moore is kind of carrying the torch and that flag for new level iron users right now, at least. And he's got SM4 60 degree Vokey wedge, which I absolutely love. Like everyone else in the world, I also had a SM4. I never wanted to get rid of it, but my ball landed in a creek one college event back in the day. I took the biggest chunk out of the toe section of this club trying to hit it out.
Oh.
And I don't think it went too smooth the first time, so I had to go back for more on the second.
Oh, no.
I think I ended up making double bogey, ruined the wedge. Definitely did not win the tournament or anything like that. Rest in peace to the SM4, and they just, you know, these days they're tough to find. They're tough to come across. And even he was like, it's going to be tough for me to replace this with a fresh SM4. They're just really hard to find. So he was kind of asking about or mentioning possibly getting something custom made down the road. We'll see which company he ends up going with. If that's the route he takes, I know there's a couple other guys on the PGA Tour. I believe Aaron Badley still has SM4s lurking. Scott Piercy still has SM4s lurking. So there might be a box over there at Titleist, you know, of some fresh heads. So Ryan Moore, if you're listening, you know, that might be a suggestion. At least reach out to Titleist, see if they got some SM4s for you. They won't give any to me, but you know, you're competing out there on the PGA Tour. They might give you a shot. There's just something about those SM4s. They were like the perfect shape. The grooves were obviously pretty sharp. And just looking down at a dress, the profile was just something about it. Maybe it was because I was spending so much time around that time on the short game area and dialing myself in with that wedge. So that's what like I became used to. But there's just something about that SM4 cult classic, if you know, you know, type thing. And then he's got the yes putter.
Yeah. The white beat up.
It's like the perfect cap to this bag.
Oh. Yeah, that putter has seen some putts, that's for sure. Yeah, my super excitement, I mean, I love this bag, and the first part is because as soon as I scrolled down and I saw the sole of the XR16, that was... I had an XR16. I unfortunately didn't have the Pros because those were tour issue only. They didn't make those for us mortals. Well, no, they did. I think they did make a Pro, but I think the Pros they made on these were slightly different. But anyway, I had an XR16, absolutely loved it, and it was like my unicorn for like 4 years before I finally got rid of it. So seeing those, I was like, man, those are so good. Mine did not have the wear mark that his five wood has.
Because you never hit the same spot twice.
No. I mean, that face was pretty fresh all over. But they were just such a good... it was such an easy fairway to hit. It got up in the air real quick, really easily, and they were just a solid offering. They didn't look too shut. Mine was filled with a bunch of hot melt. I do love the fact that he's got the old XR16 heads, but he's got brand new Project X hazardous shafts in there. So the 3-wood or the 5-wood have the same. No, the 5-wood's slightly different, but the 3-wood has a hazardous smoke blue RDX in it, and then the 5-wood has an older hazardous black handcrafted, which those were out around the same time. I had a hazardous red in mine. But brand new shaft in the head. Even his driver, he's got the original Sim with the newer Smoke RDX Red driver shaft in there. So he's messing around with some shafts, but keeping some old heads in their lineup. And like I said, those XR16s were just money. They're so good.
Well, because here's what happened, at least in my theory. He went to his storage locker, his garage, and he was like, I still want to play these clubs, but we need to update these shafts because I'm playing old technology and these new shafts I really like, but I got to go with the old heads.
Yep.
So he got everything reshafted. That's my theory. Ryan Moore, bag of the week. Bag of the week.
Yeah.
Goes to Ryan Moore for sure.
I do have to say the one thing
I don't
also
know
on
what
that
prize we give for bag of the week.
We should do a bag of the week every
go
week.
ahead.
The one thing I'm surprised of is I'm a little bit familiar with the New Level stuff. New Level, again, direct-to-consumer brand. Really good irons and stuff, and like you said, at a good price. I'm not super familiar with their stuff. I've only hit a handful of their irons. But he's playing these 902 PDs, which are kind of like a forged cavity back. A generous amount of offset. Surprising how much offset are in those irons. And some players like offset, which is fine. Like there's certain players like Adam Scott, whatever. But even like the pitching wedge has a substantial amount of offset for the type of iron it is. So it's pretty interesting to see that he must like that look.
He's an offset guy.
Yeah, for sure.
Like pretty clear. And what's interesting is it seems like that generation, whatever age they are, kind of that mid to old tier of golfer like Adam Scott, Scott Piercy, Ryan Moore, they like that offset.
Yeah.
And the new age guys, the younger guys, they don't like it. So at some point there was a big cutoff on the offset, and I especially like he's got an attack wedge in there. That's like part of the New Level iron set.
Yep.
Just an all around awesome bag, Ryan. Great work out there. You earned bag of the week.
Oh yeah.
And just before we get out of here, I got one last topic. We can keep this short and sweet. Kramer Hickok has just about the cleanest Scotty Cameron putter I've seen in a minute.
Crazy. There's
just something so cool about the simplicity that's going on this putter. I suggest checking it out in the forums. It's just golfwrx.com/forums. And then you can go in the tour and pre-release section, check out Kramer Hickok's putter.
Yeah.
I do use a Ping PLD now, but I'm a Scotty Cameron guy at the end of the day. So I get jacked up when I see something like that wows me. It's Scotty, and I would say this one wowed me.
It's pretty sweet. I mean, from the tiny stamping, the tiny font letters that say Scotty Cameron and the KH for Kramer's initials, and then the back, just the GSS with the little diamonds. Above. I mean, like you said, it's just so simple, so classy.
That's what did it for me. The back of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
the GSS.
It's so good.
Stunting.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. And then the bottom, he's got the 2 tungsten weights, but I mean, the bottom's blank other than the 2 tungsten weights. I mean, just super clean, super simple, and one of those things where, God, it's just I don't know who did the design, if Kramer had input on it or Scotty just did it, but either way, they killed it. They absolutely killed it with that putter.
Someone nailed it. Nailed it.
For sure.
And if whoever designed it happens to be listening to this, DM me for the address.
I'll take one with an AT on the toe, huh?
Yeah. Well, that's going to wrap it up from the Fortinet Championship in Napa. Pour up a glass of wine and watch through the weekend.
Yep.
And don't forget, if you're a Rickie Fowler fan, or you have a kid who's a Rickie Fowler fan, Christmas coming up, whatever the case is, We have a Rickie Fowler signed golf ball straight from his golf bag.
Yep.
Marked up with the orange dot, with the M on it for his daughter. Pretty cool golf ball, I will say. I'm holding it right now. I'm enjoying looking at it because it won't be much longer that I own it. If you want to enter the giveaway, head over to @TG2WRX on Instagram. Make sure to comment, tag 2 friends, and give us a follow. And that's it. We'll randomly select someone probably on the next podcast. And good luck.
Yeah.
I believe Knudsen will be selecting the winner, probably using a number randomizer. So
The old Google number.
it's all on the up and up.
So
Give us a follow. We will see you next week. I'll be at the President's Cup, and I'm staying through Friday, so I'll be doing the podcast while I'm still in Charlotte. Maybe I'll do it somewhere cool. I don't know. We'll see. But I'll be at the President's Cup. We'll be live. We'll be taking photos and enjoying the patriotism. All right. That was Two Guys Talking Golf from Napa. We're out. We'll see you next week.
Still go, 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 go.